Hey there, it's Gazbon, and as you can see in the title of this video, I'm bringing you my first place deck profile with Unchained. This is the first time I topped any sort of locals in about 2 years since I've actually started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! So this is a deck I'm really happy and really comfortable playing, so I think this is the best build of Unchained on YouTube as well. Come at me, distant code and Barracks Bear. But yeah, my matchups were Sky Striker in round 1. That was a very close game. Unfortunately, a misplay in game 3 lost him the game and won me the game. So unfortunate him, but good for me. Game 2 was against Infernoble Knights, and this was actually a draw. But I could have won this if I let him use his Neospace connector to get out the Aqua Dolphin, so I could let him burn himself for 500. And that would have won me the game, but that ended in a draw. And my last game, because it was only 3 rounds, was against Prank Kids, and that deck is quite easy for Unchained to beat, especially this build, because I do have, spoiler, Nibiru and some other spicy outs for other problematic cards like Dragoon. So as I said, there was only 3 rounds this week at my locals, just because we recently came out of the lockdown in Wales. So I'm really looking forward to next week. Hopefully there'll be a few more rounds, and I may even play this deck again, but there are some changes I do want to make. But without further ado, I will go into the deck profile. So starting with the Unchained monsters, I'm playing 3 Aruha, of course. All the little Unchained main deck monsters have the same attack and defense, and same floating effect where if they're destroyed by battle or card effect while on the field, you get to special summon an Unchained monster from the deck. It's quite important they get destroyed on the field, because your opponent, if especially against Aruha, what you want to do is special summon him from the hand by targeting a card on your side of the field and destroy it. If your opponent, say, has a totally awesome, they can negate the effect of this, destroy it, but it doesn't actually float, so just be careful of that. As I said, his effect, you target something on your field, destroy it, special it from the hand. Next one I'm going to be talking about is 3 Rukia. As I said, they all float, but Rukia's special effect is you can quick effect, target a card you control and destroy it. And it does have some interesting synergy with the deck, something I will showcase a little bit later. I'm only playing 2 Sarama in my build. I may even bump this up to 3. But its only unique effect is you can target an Unchained card in your graveyard, set that to the field, and then pop a card on your field. So this is very good for recursion, and I'll go off a little bit later into a combo I like to do to enable OTKs. The reason I only play 2 instead of 3, this is a blind second deck really. I don't want to open too many Saramas with no way of putting stuff into the graveyard, so that's why I'm only playing 2 at the moment, but I may bump it up to 3. Abominable Unchained Soul is just a free summon because you're always destroying your own cards, so you can get him out very easily. You can also non-target destruction when he is special summoned, but doesn't get rid of problematic cards that can't be targeted or destroyed, but it's still a great card. And 1 Unchained Soul of Disaster. You use this monster to link away with your opponent's monsters to summon out your Unchained Link monsters. More on those later on. And a little bit about the combo I like to do that I mentioned earlier with Sarama, and if you have Disaster in the graveyard, you can use the Sarama effect to set the Disaster to your side of the field and bring back one of the Unchained Links for the OTK. So going off into the Tribute My Opponent board side of the deck, I'm playing 3 Nibiru. It's great against Prank Kids and some other really combo heavy decks. Something you can really do, which is really cool with this as well, if you have Rukia on the field and this, you can use the Rukia effect Chainlink 2 and this Chainlink 1. So the Rukia pops itself first, and you can only special summon Fiend for the rest of the turn. And Nibiru tributes everything on the field, but doesn't actually special summon. So you still keep Nibiru in your hand, and you've basically just board wipe your opponent for free. The next tribute everything on my opponent's field, or just one thing, I should say, is Ryodan, the Interdimensional Kaiju. I chose this one, you'll see a little bit later on why I chose this dark one, but it's quite a good card for Out and Dragoon, because obviously we can't target it for linking off, we can't destroy it with Abominable Unchained Soul. This is the next best out in the main deck that we can play. Also stops other problematic things like the Buster Lock and even Prank Kids, because if they don't use the Bow Bark in the standby phase or even your draw phase, you can just tribute it off and they'll just end up crying. So I really like the Kaijus in this deck. Playing one of the Dino Wrestler Prankatops, as I said, this is a blind go in second deck. Your opponent's going to have at least one card, maybe even one monster on the field, so you can easily summon this, bait out some sort of negate, and start your plays. This is a great deck. I absolutely love this. It's a go in second control deck that can really grind out a lot of decks, so I just absolutely love this deck. Ash Blossom and No Joy for the hand traps, as well as Infinite Impermanence. Not too many hand traps. We would like to see our opponent combo off so we can capitalize on that, but we do have obviously these two hand traps being the strongest in the game, just to slow down our opponent just a little bit. Into the spells, there's not many. We're playing Free Abomination's Prison. This card can search out any of your Unchained cards from your deck, add it to your hand, but if it's set on the field and destroyed whilst on the field set, you get to special summon an Unchained monster from your deck. So this is a great way to special summon Unchained Soul of Disaster. Say you had the Aruha in hand, you set this, pop it with Aruha, and then special summon Disaster to your side of the field and link off and Unchained plays. Draw power, because we do need a little bit of draw power. I'm playing Free Pot of Extravagance. We really don't care about our extra deck, even though we link off so much with our opponent's cards. I've been able just to end games by summoning a second Abominable Unchained Soul to my field while I already have one out and have like one of the normal Unchained monsters, or I think it's probably a little bit more because that's only 7,500, but that's still quite a lot of damage. So yeah, don't really need the extra deck. One Harpy's Feather Duster to deal with those pesky back row decks, because I think everything pretty much plays some sort of set card. Phantom Knights will have set Fog Blades, Prank Kids will have the Trap and Fusion cards set, there's Guru still kicking about, and Sky Strikers as I mentioned earlier, so yeah, it's a really good card to main deck in a blind second deck like this. Abominable Chamber of the Unchained. This card can basically special summon an Unchained from your hand or graveyard, but it has a secondary effect, same as Escape of the Unchained, where if these cards are set and destroyed on the field, you get to special summon an Unchained from your deck. Escape has its own unique effect as well, where you can target one Unchained card on the field and one other card on the field and destroy them both. So the cool thing about this is one other card on the field, so you can even pop, let's say, a set Abominable Unchained and get 2 floats off that card. And finally, Free Evenly Match. Of course, with blind second, I kind of just want to disrupt all my opponent's plays, so that card is great for doing that. Next off, I'll be going into the extra deck. So playing 2 Unchained Abomination. To be honest, I am debating whether to take this out. It's a good link for, you know, it's free pops at the end of the turn and when something else is destroyed by battle or card effect, but it doesn't feel too powerful in this deck in all honesty. Playing 3 Unchained Soul Anguish, you will summon this off the Unchained Soul of Rage. So the normal plays you'll do, however you do it, is get out the Unchained Soul of Disaster and use its effect to link off with an opponent's card to make first the Rage, which you can link summon on your opponent's turn with a special summon monster that they control, and usually you'll either summon out the Unchained Soul of Anguish, or even better, to further disrupt your opponent's turn, is to make the Nightmare Unicorn. Now, you can time this really well against Prank Kids. What you can do is, say you're going first, you make the Rage, you let them go into Meow Meow Mew. Once they go into Meow Meow Mew, you can use Rage and the Meow Meow Mew to go into Unicorn to basically spin back whatever they summon off the first Prank Kids monster, ending their turn, hopefully. So it's a really nutty card if you're going first or even second after you've broken your opponent's board. They normal summon something, you just go into this, although they need a special summon monster, so that's not correct. But yeah, stupidly good card. So these are the cool Link 4s that I like to play after I go into Make Anguish even. So access code talker can go for games quite easily. Topologic Bomber Dragon actually did a quite funny loop where I was playing against Prank Kids again, summoned this out, reborn the Unchained Soul of Disaster with the Abominable Chamber of the Unchained to the zone that this pointed to. It blew up Disaster, and I summoned something else to again pop the field. It's a really fun card. And Topologic Zero Burrows for the Grand Marju deck, so I can bigger OTK them. And finally, for the extra deck, just 2 Starving Venom Dragons. That ties in with the Raiden that I did mention earlier, because you can probably guess what is in my side deck, so we'll go straight into that. And straight into the card, we got free Super Polymerization. This really hasn't come up much. Again, I didn't really have any dark matchups to play against. It was just Sky Strikers, which usually end on like a Shizuku. Infernoble Knights, where it's just fires, and Prank Kids, which are just all different attributes that aren't dark. So I'm debating taking this out, but maybe leaving the Raiden in. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to think about that a bit more. But continuing on with the side deck, we got 3 Cosmic Cyclones, more back row removal. We hate back row decks. In any format, any deck just hates back row decks. Even back row decks hate themselves. So next off, you can see the 1 Scythe and 3 Sanctums. This is so good because people will make you go first thinking you can't really do much. And when you go first, you just set this or even the Artifact Scythe to blow up on their turn to summon it. And just lock them out and stop them playing Yu-Gi-Oh! For a turn, where you can just go ahead and OTK after that. Finally, I'm playing 2 Heavy Storm Dusters and 2 Torrential Tribute and 1 Trap Tricks. So this is for when back row decks makes us go first. We can side these in along with a Trap Trick to blow up their back row, stop them setting up, and Torrential Tribute for those decks that like to spit out monsters, so we can hopefully stop them from making any further plays. So yeah, that was my Unchained deck. I got first place with this deck, so I'm really happy with this deck profile. There are some changes I would like to make, but if there's anything that you would change yourself, please feel free to leave that in the comments. It may even help myself and other players, especially with more budget options, such as Evenly Match. I understand it's still quite a very expensive card. I suppose you could even play Super Poly instead of that. But yeah, please remember to leave this video a like, as it does help my channel. And please subscribe. There's a lot of people who watch my videos, funnily, but aren't subscribed. I'd love to get to 100 subscribers before the end of the year. So please subscribe. Anyway, that's my video ended, done. Great outro. See ya.